Hi everyone, it's me again, and lately I've just been thinking about how many times I've actually emotionally attached myself to people that I already knew would probably never make me feel emotionally safe. Yeah, I think I finally started noticing a pattern in the kind of people that I become emotionally attached to. No, I shouldn't say I recently noticed a pattern because I kind of knew the pattern was there. It's just that I was living in self denial. And honestly, it's a little bit uncomfortable to admit because every single time I already knew. It's not immediate, like sometimes, but it's early enough in the interaction when I knew someone new. And like, there's gonna be always this kind of feeling in my chest or something I knew is slightly off, but I can actually pinpoint to it. Sometimes I kind of knew that they were emotionally inconsistent. Maybe they only show up when it's convenient for them. And in some cases, somehow, I became the one that was trying to understand them more deeply than they were trying to understand me. But somehow, in all these three scenarios, I would still stay emotionally attached, even after we stopped talking. And even after I knew that the interaction or disconnection would probably not gonna make me feel safe in the long term. And just recently I've been asking myself why? Because logically I can actually see the pattern. Like even with the last person, I remember us not talking anymore. But there's still some part of me that secretly hope he's gonna reach out. Not even necessarily to continue from where we left off, but just reaching out and maybe to prove that I mattered enough to be remembered. And I really hated admitting that to myself. Because logically, I also knew if someone really wanted to keep choosing you, then you probably wouldn't feel this confused and all these weird feelings about that person all the time. But emotions are pretty strange. Like sometimes your mind leaves fast and your feelings just take longer to catch up. And honestly, I think what hurt the most is not even losing the person, but actually grieving something that you imagine in your head, like grieving the version of the future you quietly created with that person in your head. It can be the trips you imagine, the conversations you thought you would eventually have, or the version of them you hope will finally become emotionally available one day. Or maybe you just imagine them to try to know you better. Basically, you made them like the perfect person in your head, and honestly, that's the person you're actually grieving, not the real person. I think maybe that's why I kept staying emotionally attached to emotionally unavailable people, because of all these inconsistencies that they present themselves with, and all these inconsistencies create hope. When someone gives you just enough, you started chasing the possibility of having more. And then you just start to romanticize all these tiny little moments that might not be good for you, like late night conversations. As you're approaching your 30s, you should try to sleep early for your skin, for your body, for your health, for everything. But somehow, when it happens in this kind of situation, you just start to romanticize it. You can't even think too much or romanticize like a story view or even like a small moment of affection. And suddenly, you're just emotionally invested in crumbs. because you're hoping they eventually become a consistency. It's hard to admit, but it's just the truth, because my way of understanding is because of all these emotional inconsistencies, these gaps that they create, and then you just start to fill all this in with your imagination and hope that they will become your person, your perfect person one day. But it just don't happen. So this time, I guess I thought about this for quite a long time. And I think I confused emotional longing with emotional connection. I always thought that being deeply affected by someone meant the connection was deep. No, because I'm starting to realize maybe sometimes it's just the anxiety that just feels intense, but it's not meaningful. And maybe in this phase of my life, it's less about learning how to love someone else and more about learning what it feels like to stop abandoning myself emotionally, to feel chosen for a moment. It's very uncomfortable saying it, but I guess this is actually the truth. I don't actually have the answer on how to do it yet, except, like everyone said, keep yourself busy, try to do things for yourself. It's very hard to start giving attention to yourself when you have already been so used to giving your attention outwards to somebody. Yeah. But I think for me it's a good thing, because I think this is the first time I've stopped romanticizing the pattern and thinking the anxiety actually meant the emotional connection. So I guess it's a good first step. I don't really know what's gonna happen afterwards, but at this, I think this is gonna help me break this pattern. So yeah. So if you're stuck in this emotional turmoil, I don't really know how to phrase it nicer, or you're just experiencing like the same phase as me, let's all try to divert the attention back to ourselves, and we'll just see how things turn out from there. I'm pretty sure it will just turn out for the better. And yeah, that's all I have for today. If you stayed to the end, thank you for listening to the end, and I hope you have a great day ahead. I'll see you in the next one.